Icinga2 API and Ansible. So basically, configuration management tool and monitoring tool together. And a couple of words first about Icinga. So it's an advanced monitoring distributed monitoring system. It was forked from Nagios. And it's backwards compatible with Nagios plugins, most of them. And it comes with a CLI, obviously, and also has a nice, rich REST API. It's pretty secure, has an encrypted cluster communication. So in Icinga distributed monitoring setup, you have satellites, you have clients, and you have, of course, master nodes, and everything that is going on between those components, all the communication is encrypted. And it supports MySQL and Postgres databases for persistence, so for storing check results and users for the web interface and such. Back in the day, in Icinga1 days, it was also supporting Oracle databases. Now we dropped that support. So here are some getting started resources that you can use for getting started with Icinga if you haven't been using it already. You should, it's pretty cool. So it officially comes with Ansible, Puppet, and Chef provisioning. That's officially supported by the company behind Icinga. And of course they provide vagrant boxes. Those vagrant boxes, they're running CentOS 7 now. And they're provisioned with Puppet. That's their provisioner of choice. And they also have a Docker container from where which Icinga is running. It's more like a demo, so to say. It's really not production ready, I would say, at least what they provide on their GitHub page. And yeah, I think it has great documentation. It has really active development and support. Specifically, every time I go on their bug tracker and I open a bug about the API, because I came across quite some bugs as it's still, in heavy development, so to say. And I created some support tickets, and a couple of weeks later, their bug fix released out, and I see my bugs IDs in the change log, so it's pretty fast. You guys are pretty good and doing a great job there. They have also this thing called Icinga2. Some of you might have known this previous forum that they were using before. They shut it down at the beginning of this year, if I'm not mistaken. It was a monitoringportal.com, something like that. So Icinga2 is, you can look at it from the point of view as an Ansible galaxy, so to say. So there are a lot of plugins, a lot of modules that you can grab from there. It's basically a collaborative effort of reusing, sharing valuable Icinga resources. So my learnings from integrating Ansible, from using Ansible against the Icinga API. So obviously Icinga API, REST API. So Ansible can talk to it, not only to Icinga API, of course, you can talk to any API from Ansible through the URI module. That's very useful. Or if you prefer to talk in a much more customized way, so to say, you can use the shell module, and then you can invoke the curl binary with parameters. And if you really want to go crazy, then you can use Ansible to template some configuration file or some file that has to curl and do really crazy stuff. You're still going to have to do some configuration file templating because some aspects of Ansible, of Icinga, are now configurable through the API. So that's why we're still going to have to use the old school way of like configuring files. API is creating basically in a separate logical, different directory on the server, different configuration files that manages itself. And at the point of restarting the service, Icinga service, it looks into both default directories, so in etc Icinga, and also in depending on the distribution, garlic Icinga, and merges this into the real upstart configuration that we want. So Ansible 2 Plus is required if you want to have real fun with it, because of the URI model that comes with some nice new variables, which are not supported in Ansible 1.9. So sometimes it's still work in progress, as I said, and sometimes this merge mechanism of different configuration files because of some precedence rules and regardless of what happens in there, sometimes it's actually weird, don't freak out. Normally the errors, the traceback errors and everything are pretty clear, and you can pinpoint the errors and the problem in decent time. I mean, I haven't spent more than up to maybe, let's say, max, if you're really pessimistic, 10 minutes in finding every problem and fixing it with super fast. So, because the configuration files that the API is creating are living in a different file with a different directory, various subfolders and such, it cannot handle what is in PTC. And also for security purposes, I think it's a good choice and logical choice. But it would be interesting to see what would happen if configuration and the configuration objects that you define in classical conf files and you see Icinga would be manageable through the API. That would be interesting. So it's production ready. I'm using it in production. I've seen people using it in production. There was a couple of months ago the Icinga camp here in Berlin. I've seen and heard some really great user stories out there. Was pretty exciting. However, as I said previously, it still has some glitches. So be careful about when it comes to system response structure. You might have a different kind of structure, and then parsing this structure with Ansible makes it a little bit difficult. The response code mean. Sometimes the 503 is okay for a single API, sometimes it's not. It's really weird. Sometimes the 200 means actually the configuration has changed, sometimes it means it didn't. So be careful with that. Check for yourself, learn as you go, and then you make the right calls for the right situation. Sometimes, yes, you have empty response objects, that sucks, but get ready for that and use the ignore errors in Ansible tasks if needed. Yeah, okay. So, one thing that I confused quite often until I got myself familiar and comfortable with the terms, Icinga contacts are different from Icinga users and are different from Icinga Work 2 users. So, Icinga, you can have it, you don't need a UI, it comes with optional. That is a different database for storing usernames and everything. So, be careful to handle that. It kind of tends to be ambiguous. Probably they could have done a better job with the name. Now we have idempotence, right? We're Ansible fellows here, I hope, Ansible Meetup. So idempotence is pretty interesting and important, I think, for us. Or if it's not, we should look into making our deployments idempotent as much as we can. So coming back to Icinga on idempotence in Ansible. The from JSON filter, I think you guys know it, or if you don't, look it up. To JSON, from JSON, these are vital Ansible tools, so to say, when we interact with anything that comes within JSON. So if it's an API, it's most likely going to be JSON, hopefully some XML SOAP as well. And change when and when conditionals are very handy as well, because as you guys know, you can register the output of a Ansible task, and you can apply one conditional and change right there. Back in the old days with Ansible, literally old days, you had to have a register, and you had to have another task that would do something based on that register variable content or whatever. So with this, it narrows down much more. Another thing, it's really nice that you can actually have an Ansible task that talks to the API or something, probably has a with icons loop there, and because it's a REST API and it uses verbs, right? It's methods, or methods, however you want to call them. You can always override those. Pretty easy. You can define defaults. You can override them through extra bars, which are always taking precedence over everything, and you guys know. So if we have a task that in Icinga does a put request against the API, that means it creates an object there. I know some of you guys, people are thinking, hey, but is that supposed to be a post request? Well, that's what I thought. My developers back here told me the same thing. But it seems like different people have different opinions about how what a post is supposed to do, or what a put request is supposed to do when it comes to this REST APIs. I'm a system, so I don't know much about those things. I just know they're hitting my web service. So. Anyway, and then the very same task, you can update that configuration of it that you might have changed in the defaults, variables, or whatever in your role of Icinga. You can say extra bars, whatever variable you have in there, and then do a post request. And then your task that initially by default would do a put request, create an object first. It would do a put request, and in fact it would fail because the API would say, hey, I already have this. You would do a post. That means you would actually update the already existing configuration object with the new settings. Pretty cool. Saves you a lot of time, or at least a chance. As I went through this integration, I'm really incentivized in writing an Ansible module for Icinga. I don't know if you guys know, but there's already a NAG plugin for Ansible. So module, sorry. So I'm thinking, why shouldn't there be an Icinga module? So let's see how it goes, and maybe together with some help with my colleagues over there, we'll make some pull requests for some Ansible module for Icinga API. Then you won't have to have this role that I'm about to show you in the upcoming demo. You're just going to call this Ansible module. Because I have everything behind the scenes here. Okay, so another thing. Finally, with the help of Ansible, the developers can follow this. You build it, you ship it, you run it. Because the run it part of it also involves monitoring and logging and everything that you guys don't want to do after you finish your development process, right? You just put it there and you let us, the guys from ops and system means, if you have what you want to call them, you let them, oh, I developed my stuff. It's your problem. It's on your servers. It's not working. It's on my. The code is working. Look, the CI is telling me that it passes. It's passing. Whatever. So, not anymore. You have Ansible. It's YAML. Here's the Icinga API REST that you guys want, and do the monitoring for it. There you go. Okay. Now, if you have a very sensitive monitoring system and this application, or applications that you might have in your infrastructure. How many of you guys are ops people here? Systems. Okay, and the rest, developers. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What, the rest business people? It means I'm barking at the wrong tree. I hope not, but no offense, I didn't have anything against business or computer. We need it, right? Everybody. It's a team. Okay, so having said that, then and you are on call? Right now? Yes? Okay. Me too. So monitoring system. So let me get back to my point. If your deployment process, for example, is I don't know, you don't have, maybe you do have something that has advanced as canary deployments. rolling updates, and I don't know, Red Bull Green, how you guys call these deployments, pink, or I don't know what color, it's not trendy. Then basically your monitoring system goes crazy when you do a deployment. You probably have you're flushing some caches and your application gets slow. I don't know. And with this approach through Ansible, so let's say you're doing, hopefully, you're at Ansible Meetup, and I hope you do your deployments with Ansible. So with a simple Ansible task, you can actually ready your monitoring system for deployment. So you just put this task in your deployment playbook or role or whatever you want you're having there, and then it's great because you're telling Icinga, hey, either maintenance mode or set another threshold, or I don't know, and when it's finished, when the deployment is fine, and everything is cooling down again, then change back to the initial variables. Okay, so it's really, really easy to go crazy with this. You can have hit chat, Qbots, or pretty much Slack or anything you guys are supporting out there, or any bot for that matter. It's just a random choice. Integration with Icinga, API, and then page read, right? So you probably saw the t-shirt. Okay, don't hit the game. Don't hit the equator, hit the game. Okay. By the way, I got this t-shirt from PagerDuty when I saw my 1000th event. I tweeted it, and they replied back, I'm going to send you a t-shirt. This is a fact, it's true. Okay, so obstacle mark is resolved there. Okay, they go crazy, don't even check. Okay, alright, I think it's time for the demo. Okay, so the demo that I'm about to show is powered by this code that I published to my GitHub account and in the repository Ansible, Vaida, Berlin, and then you can find the code there and you can run it really straightforward yourself. Okay. See the one example that shows how to use certificate-based authentication with Icinga2. So this first example, this first task over here, is using the URL module, as I told you guys. And is it big enough for everybody? Yeah, okay. And you can see I'm using plain text password, and that's not cool, right? I mean, that's okay when you have VPNs and authentication and you trust stuff, but it's still not cool. However, over here on this side of things, I can show you an equivalent through two Ansible shell tasks. Okay, one is checking and one is acting. Remember I told you checking and then acting on the registered value. So then if we can just quickly let's see. Show you the variables. So I'm going to show you, as I told you, I have two payment boxes, Icinga2A and Icinga2D, and my goal is to show the variable that I'm parsing here. So I'm parsing, as you can see, to the, here's my cursor, with items, I'm parsing Icinga2 host group, so over here you can see how this variable is looking like. And yeah, it's basically going to be invoked because it's in the host group variables for the groups called Icinga2A. And then I'm doing the same thing for Icinga static hosts. If you guys are familiar with Icinga, then you probably know what I'm showing you here. If not, it's not very difficult. The documentation is great. And I'm going to show you in a second what this all means. And here is the service. Services variable that is consumed by our role here, which is over here. So again, very, very similar. And as you can see here, this is the thing I told you guys about. This is the method. So you see it's a variable, and by default it's put. So whenever I want to turn it to post or to delete or anything, I can just override this on the CLI, as you will see in a second. And yeah, I can tell, I can use the status code parameter, which is basically saying it's okay if it's a 200 and a 503. It's crazy, right? So the health at 503 is fine. Apparently in Icinga world, it's fine. So I'm adapting to that. And then I have to change the event task that I showed you guys in my learning slides. And so when the status is returned as 200, then everything's fine. Okay, so that's the services. And I'm not going to go through all the subtle, the service groups, host groups, service static hosts, whatever, because it's basically the same idea that you just saw. So let's see what happens if I, if I just simply, let's try to restart that Icinga service just to make sure it's fine, everything's running there. Whoops. Post on okay. I'm in the wrong place. Try it again. So, just to make sure our service is there. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to start saying Ansible, make sure I have the right Ansible version. Ansible playbook. I'm going to say Icinga tags, Icinga2 API. So just to show you guys, to prove you how I brought up this. Let's see if I check out. Okay, so you see, I brought up I did a bigger knot. It came up, and then what I did basically the whole Icinga playbook, except what I'm going to run now for you guys. Okay? I'm a fair guy. Okay. So, here goes nothing. And what this does is actually going to create all this configuration objects. So first it's going to start with the host group, then it's going to start with the hosts, then it's going to start with the service group, and then it's going to put services in those host groups. So as you see, I have everything, mostly everything on changed status. So that means everything is changing. I have to change accordingly. And just as a quick showcase, I'm going to show you guys how the playbook is looking like. So setting up the host name, I'm putting it into my EPC host file because I don't have any DNS here. I'm setting up NTP time zone. You know, this is the bells for every box you bring up. Very nice, decent system. And then I'm installing Icinga no UI, so I'm not putting for the scope of this demo. I'm not putting up the web interface of Icinga. I don't need that. We're going to use the CLI. Then I'm calling those subroles, and of course tagging. So nothing special actually. Okay. So from here onwards, if I run it again, theoretically I should get. My goal is to get as less as possible change tasks. So in this case, none. However, let's see what happens if I say extra bars. Oops, extra bars, and then I say, you remember the default put? Now I'm going to override it with the post method. Actually, I just copy faster from the other section. So this basically won't do anything. It's going to do the same thing it did already. But I think I will say, oh, it's an update. It's not smart enough to see it's the same object that's coming in. It's the same JSON. So I'm going to put it, I'm going to make it work there anyway. So, okay. So now, if I copy this command here, which is, let's zoom in a little bit. Is that too much? Yeah. Let's do that two ways. If it works, don't break it. So Vagrant, I'm going to use Vagrant destination to the server and run an Icinga object list command. So this is the API of Icinga, the CLI of Icinga. It can do a lot of things, but object list call is one of the most used ones that I find myself using every time. And I'm saying, show me the host groups, and that are called databases. So let's see what's going to spit it up for me. Oh, I'll see my function. Oh my God, it's terrible, isn't it? So let's see what. Vagrant, SSH, Icinga2. Let's see what we can do there. even have internet here? So apparently, this is not the Debian system, so lovely. Let's try to run the command here. Icinga2 object list type host group and databases. Nothing. Oh, why? Object list type host group. Okay, okay, so that's fine. Hang on a second. Okay. Just make sure I have my stuff up to date. Okay. Let's go through like that. Okay. Okay, did I quit? Okay. Try it again. Quick restart. Okay. There you go. So, don't ask me why. Just the normal way of the system, right? Okay, so as you can see, I have this databases object created. So that's all good and nice. Now let's see how the web servers object group that I created looks like. Like that. So you can see here package API. So that tells Icinga this configuration object is created by API. Don't even try to override it through the etc files or the other way around any other way. I also created one service called DD from dig, so the DNS check. And another one from Flipper, because I was thinking MySQL, they have this dolphin logo, okay. So DB will tell us the status of this service called DB by running this command. So this is showing us actually the configuration object. So I'm not going to show us the status for that. I'm going to run another command here. So let's see Flipper as well. Everything should be in order. So we can see the variables that are assigned to that configuration object, in this case the service. I've used a couple of open public MySQL boxes that you can just log in and see. See, that's weird, right? I thought there's no such thing, but I actually saw some companies that are putting out those stuff. Those things, and also I did the same for SSH, and anyway, so here's the box. That's currently an Amazon server, MySQL username anonymous, and let's see how it looks, what we can tell about it. So far, all my interaction through the API was through the URI module. If I'm going to simply go and say Icinga API, host groups, I think that was the subtask, sub-rule that, So let's comment all this thing out. Let's see what happens now if I run the show. Tags, something like this, right? Leave out the export, we don't need that for now. It should basically do the same thing. It's just going to probably be much more uglier in terms of output, for sure. Yes, but it's working and everything's fine. And it's secure this time, right? Because that was the big difference. You guys saw here, I'm actually saying certificate of authority, certificate of key, even for the checks. So it's pretty darn right. Okay, now let's see what happens if I'm actually querying the API by Icinga, plain text from my box. And I'm saying show me this dig thing. So the dig, I'm running a dig comment against Icinga.org, I think. Icinga.org here, the lookup, and I'm expecting it to have only one mail server. Cool. We should have only one. I'm expecting it to return the mail card 10 and mailnet with the EE. and I'm using Google DNS as a DNS result for my query. And you can see all kinds of nice information here. And that's har state, variable before. Here's probably some, yeah, it's returning some error for some reason, I don't know. And it's pretty nice information. Accessible from curl. So really cool. Imagine you have a Docker container, comes up. Only thing it needs to do to advertise itself, or the service that is actually, serving, is just run a curl against your Icinga. Hey, Icinga, here's my service. I'm here. And keep this curl running, and it's fine. I mean, you can monitor your containers, your various infrastructure craziness out there. So let's see this other service called Flipper, which is connecting to this MySQL box. I'm connecting MySQL server. I don't know exactly. I'm using LTE here. I don't know if that's okay or not. But normally, when I made this demo, I got uptime. I got various system-related, system-related information from this MySQL server, because I'm using the default check MySQL check of Icinga. So it's not rocket science, nothing super engineered here. So yeah, that's pretty much it. No MySQL backed Icinga, no web interface Icinga, nothing. Just CLI and straightforward to the point. Of course, when you add those perks, then you have a much more interesting demo. Okay, so that was the demo. Let's see what's next. Probably questions. There you go. Any questions? Okay. That's also good. Means I was very clear and verbose. Thanks for watching.